Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel again. So a while ago, I shared a video about how I landed a new PM job without any experience in 4 months. In that video, I talked about the step-by-step of what I took to get to my PM job in 4 months. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about the structure of how you should be structuring your product portfolio. I will also be sharing the product portfolio that I built that helped me land my PM job. After I posted a video, a lot of people reached out to me on Instagram DM asking me if they were thinking about building a product portfolio, how should they go about doing it, what is the structure, do we have any templates? Do we have any reference that I can share? But before I get started, I just want to say why is it important to build a product portfolio? Building a product portfolio, it's like writing a PRD when you're actual PM. So I can kind of know now how come a lot of PM instructors talk about you should be building a product portfolio, because that's how a company can test if you have experience or at least you have transferable experience or not. So breaking down the structures of the product portfolio, what should you be covering? First, mission and the vision of the company. Second, a problem statement. Why are you solving this problem? Why is this problem really important? Third, the goal you're trying to achieve and also the North Star metrics that you'll be tracking. Fourth, you're gonna talk about the solutions that you thought about when you are tackling this issue. And after that, you wanna talk about the design or the solutions that you can share with your interview about like, oh, this is a solution of how you solve the issues. And last, you're gonna talk about launch strategy, how you're gonna go about launching the solutions that you have just built for the problem. I know that sounds really vague and it just sounds like a table of content. So let me show you what that looks like in details. So this is the product portfolio that I built when I was interviewing for my current company. I talked about the project that I was on when I was working at Uber. The project I was on was to help Uber Eats to drive more ads revenue and also to encourage more restaurants to sign up to use Uber Eats ads. So in this portfolio, I started with the overview and also my background and what I used to do. And then I started with the project overview, which is the mission and the problem statement. I talked about Uber Eats' mission to make eating effortlessly for everyone and everywhere. And then the problem statement is that we want to increase the marketing campaign sign up for Uber Eats ads. So that was a really clear problem statement. And that's the problem we're gonna be solving. And after I talked about the approach that we are taking when we are identifying this problem, how we got to identify. For example, we work with the UXR team to lead a lot of research studies, and then we interview customers, and then how many we interview, how many customer persona that we put together. Customer persona is very important because you want to know if you're solving the problem, are you trying to solve for the right audience? For this problem specifically, who are you trying to solve it for? So customer persona is one of the very important skill that every product manager should have, because you want to make sure that you know your audience. And then after, I also talk about result. Result is that, oh, after I talk to that many customers, how many customer segments that I identify and how many pain points, what are the customers' pains? This is also really important. You want to make sure that when you talk to the customers, you know what's the issue. After that, I put together 3 different customer persona to represent the customer group that I identify. I talked about the motivations and the goal for those customers' persona, their frustrations, their pain points, and a little bit about their bio. For example, restaurant owner who sign up for Uber Eats app, they could be like McDonald's sites, a strategic sites where they have a billions restaurants locations. They could be like chain restaurants who only have 10 restaurants down the district, or they could be mom and pop shop, they only have 1 restaurant. So for this problem specifically, are we solving for which customer segment group? Because every segment, their pain points are gonna be very different. After we identify 3 different segments, we kind of put it in a little table where we're gonna measure by impact, urgency, and the size of market. Impact being that if we solve this problem, how impactful would it be to those customer segments? How urgent should we be solving it? Is it urgent to those customer group? And then the last is the size of the market. How many people are suffering from these issues? Once you have the table ready, you're gonna pick a segment that has the highest score. So you wanna make sure that when you solve this problem, it's benefiting the majority or the most impactful part of the customer segments. After I identified the customer segment that I'm gonna try to solve the problem for, I wrote down the customer pain points. So for this specific customer segment, what are their pain points? For example, their pain points could be, oh, when they run Uber Eats ads, the campaign setup was really unclear. They don't know a lot about marketing, so they don't know how to finish onboarding. It could be, oh, like mom and pop restaurants, they don't have a lot of budget running Uber Eats ads, so that's why they didn't sign up for Uber Eats ads. And the last is marketing result. A lot of people feel like, oh, they finished running the campaign, but they don't see the result. Like, what do they do? So that's like the pain points that we identify. And again, you map it back to the metrics to talk about impact, urgency, and size of the market. If you were gonna solve the specific pain points, is it gonna be worth it? So you add them up together as a score and you pick one pain point to solve first, because you only have that many resources, that much time. You cannot solve everything in one go. After you identify the pain points, you talk about the solution. So there are like millions solutions to solve a problem. I talked about, oh, like for the problem area that I'm gonna solve for, what are the different ideas that we had in mind initially. The first pain point that we want to solve is the unclear campaign setup. So a lot of people don't know how to set up campaign in general. That's why they didn't set up. So there are multiple solutions. For example, we can redesign the entire setup page. There could be, we can do like some fancy stuff, AI completing onboarding or campaign setup for the customers, or we can build like a product tour where people log in and then like we show them what to do. So we, again, once you have all the solutions, you put it into the table again. You talk about the ease of implementation. If you were gonna use these solutions, how easy it is to solve the solutions, and the engineering effort, like how much effort is it gonna take for the engineering to build this feature. For example, one feature like AI stuff could be really complicated to do. So it might be a great idea, but it will be very, very difficult to do. It's gonna take a lot of time. It's not feasible. And it also effectiveness. If you do the solution, is it gonna be as effective as you think? So you kind of put them down on the table as a metrics to prioritize again, and then you pick the highest number. So that's like the way that you will be prioritizing solution and problem as a whole as a product manager. So you wanna showcase the kind of skill and the kind of thinking that you have, so people know that you actually have transferable skill when they hire you. In terms of validating solutions, so I talked about in one of the content, you should also include the Figma or the solutions that you had. So I talked about when we're thinking about redesigning the landing page, what does that look like? So I showcase the screenshots just for reference. I also talk about, as a product manager, you have to write a lot of user story and the product requirements. So then how would I break it down for a feature that I want to build? How do I go about writing user stories and some of the acceptance criteria? These are really important to show, because the interview have to know that, do you actually know how to write spec for the engineers, to work with the engineers, to define what you want your engineers to build for you. And then I talk about launch strategy. So if you work for a global company, having a solid launch strategy is really important, because if one thing goes wrong, everything goes wrong. So you have to make sure that you plan a release in a very strategic way, like which market you release first, how many audience, are there any dependencies, should you only be releasing to this person versus that group of cohort. So I kind of plan it out into like different phases. For example, this marketing landing page redesign, I kind of talked about, oh, we're gonna pick like pilot city to launch first and to see if this solution is actually working before we launch it out to the rest of the market. So we pick like 2-3 markets to start with, and then we test it out. We collect metrics, for example, the sign up metrics, and then how much time in between. For example, in this, we waited for like 2 months before we launched to the next phase. And then you just wanna like really map it out to identify the duration, the market, and then also the stakeholder that you work with, and then also the metric. You are gonna also talk about the result, like after you launch these features, what are the results? So that's the wrap in it. I hope this video is very useful to you. I know thinking about building a product portfolio might be very overwhelming because you don't know where to start, what information you should be putting in. That's how I felt in the beginning as well, but following this structure will actually give you a better idea. So I will link the template of the structures of the product portfolio that I built in the description below. Feel free to check it out. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up or subscribe. If you have any other kind of topics that you're interested in learning, feel free to drop a comment below. But anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!